my first plea was 50 years.
50 years?
Yes. And my bail was $1 short of $10 million. And I'm sitting across from the governor, Phil Murphy. And he looked at me and he was like, so I'm the middle of two brothers. I got an older brother, a younger brother. And we grew up in Asbury in poverty like many other people did.
What'd your parents do for a living?
Well, they was in and out of a lot of different things because they had their own habits with drugs and stuff like that. But they tried to maintain a job as best as they could. But my dad always did kind of like construction type of work, and my mom did kind of like secretary duty type work at different companies.
So did you ever get in trouble in high school or anything like that happen?
Yeah, high school, probably I dropped out when I was 16. I dropped out. Yeah, I dropped out when I was 16.
Wow.
I would say for me, like doing the schoolwork was easy. So like it wasn't really as challenging. And by the time I got to about 13, 14-ish, that's when I started running into the streets. So I wasn't really interested in school as much as I was in my younger years, because prior to that, I got straight A's.
Right.
I got straight A's in school. I played basketball. That was my main thing. But I feel like I started, veering towards the streets because one time I got a letter for a basketball camp and my parents didn't want to pay it.
Okay.
Yeah. They would have $300.
Right.
That's $300. And they didn't want to pay it. So to me, it was kind of like, as a kid, it kind of killed my dreams of my hopes of wanting to play basketball. So that kind of had me venture into the streets, and that's when everything else started happening.
Well, so when you say getting into the streets, what do you mean, selling drugs? Or?
Yes. Okay. So that's why I first started off. Started off selling drugs, and that was just doing little nickel and diamond stuff from here to there, trying to make money just to feed myself and feed those around me, because we kind of grew up in poverty with no money.
Right. And so what is this, like some the other guys are doing it and that you just buy from them, or you like, how do you, like, who's the plug? Like
Yeah, I had a plug that was out of Asbury that I had ran into. So I'll go get what I needed to get from him, come back and sell what I needed to sell, make some money, then go back and re-up and just try to keep it going as much as I could.
Okay. How long is that going?
So this started when I was about 13 or 14. It probably lasted for about 6 years. In between that, I went to the juvenile facility about
I was going to say,
3 times.
Did you get picked up?
Yeah, not for selling drugs though.
Oh,
I got arrested. I remember one time I got arrested because a couple of people that I was with, I actually wasn't with them this night, but they was like out spray painting and they had spray painted my name somewhere. So I got arrested for that, for criminal mischief and like little stuff like that. So I ended up going to the youth house one time for like 6 months, and then I ended up going there another time for about 6 months, which led me to a juvenile program, which was like a boot camp.
6 months for spray painting?
Yes.
Wow, they're not messing around.
Yeah.
And both times were for spray painting?
No.
One was spray painting?
Yeah, one was like spray painting for criminal mischief, and I believe the other one was like possession of a weapon of having a knife.
Oh, okay. And would the cops just pull up on you? You're walking with your buddies and they pull you over and decide to search you?
Just decided to search me.
Walking while black?
Yes. Because at that time, growing up in the neighborhood, it was predominantly white. Mm-hmm. So it was like I kind of stuck out.
What is that? Do you ever watch the judge that has a little bow tie? You never seen? You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen him before. I don't remember his name.
Yeah. He's got a little bow tie. And, they bring people up and they, and he'll say, it's a probable cause hearing, right? Like you walk up to like, can we hold this guy? And they walk in and they'll read what the district attorney will read of course they'll get like a public defender and they'll read what the police wrote. He'll be like, okay, I don't understand. So why did he search him? Well, saw the suspect, blah, 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 walking suspiciously. He's like, how's he walking suspiciously? You know what I'm saying? He'll go through the whole thing. He's like, well, I mean, they thought he was suspicious. He said, why? Because he's black? And he says that all the time. So they searched him because he was suspicious is walking while black. Is that why they arrested him? He's like, I mean, he's like, I mean, you need to talk to your officers. Explain to me why you searched him. Yeah. Well, they said they looked suspicious. He said, no, that's not enough. Like what? And they go through the whole thing. And then he'll lecture the kids. After he's like, okay, we don't have a problem. We're not holding this guy. And then it's always some kid. And you could tell the kid's like, sometimes you could even just look at him and be like, yeah, you're just a fucking little hood.
Yes.
But he'll give him a little lecture about. He's like, listen. Listen. They're against you. He's like, it's not supposed to be like that. It is. He's like, you need to stop. If you're, the way you're dressed and things you're doing, they're going to search you. So don't have a gun on you, or don't have a knife on you, or don't, they do a whole,
Yes.
He does a whole, I can't believe, you've never seen, he's great. He's great because he's just very matter of fact. He's like, he seems like extremely fair.
Man, that's rare.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Usually it's,
rare.
yeah.
That is right.
Yeah,
Trust me, I had my occasions of that. It's like times like being a kid. I remember me and a lot of my friends, they was white, had cap guns.
Right.
I'm the one that got pulled over and got a gun charge for a cap gun. So it's like, it's just little stuff like that when I was growing up. It's just crazy.
So you, at the second time after that, so you get out of the juvenile facility, what happens? Have you dropped out of school yet?
Yeah, I dropped out because this was around 16, 17 years old. Like I said, I went from the youth house and then I went to a boot camp for about 6-7 months. So ultimately, I think I did 17 and a half months between the youth house and the boot camp. Then I was home. I already dropped out of school, back selling drugs. That's when I'm running the streets. That's when I become affiliated with the Bloods. And this is my life. Just being in the streets, gang banging, selling drugs. Until I caught my case that led me to prison with a 60-year sentence.
So how does that happen? How does that evolve?
Well, I think it has evolved because when you start dealing with affiliations in different groups of people, you got to choose a side of who you're on. Then you're going to have people that don't like each other. So it just went from, people that I grew up with, that we was okay, not necessarily friends, but we was okay to a point. But then if one of them was going at it with one of my people, then it's like, okay, we have a little war going on. And then that just lead to a whole bunch of things that just happened. So it led to a person actually getting shot, and he got shot in the back when one of his friends shot at me.
Well, wait, we have more specifics than that. Way more specifics than that.
So it literally started over a fight. It started over a fight with two people. One person lied and tried to say that me and this other individual tried to jump him, which never happened. So he went and told all his guys that we tried to jump him. And then that led to a big brawl between like me and 4 people against literally 50 people.
Okay.
And
where is this happening?
This is happening in Asbury.
I know that. Like
on a street.
At the Burger King?
Nah. It happened in front of my mother's house.
Okay.
It actually happened in front of my mother's house on a street that she used to live on. It was Pine Street.
So 50 people showed up?
It was literally 50 people. It was only 5 of us. And that turned out to 5 of us against 50 people. In the midst of that fight, it turned out to some other people exchanging words and pulling guns out on each other, which ultimately led to, okay, now this is bigger than just fighting.
Right. So did you have a gun?
At that particular time? Yeah, when I was younger, yeah. So
I mean, in
that moment, no.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have it with me in that moment.
Well, yeah. I don't care if it's in your closet.
Yeah.
I mean, so you didn't have a gun on you.
No.
You're just in a fist fight.
Yes.
Okay.
We're just in a fist fight.
And 2 other people are also start fighting.
Yes. And then when guns get drawn, it escalates from regular fist fights to now we're talking about, exchanging fire back and forth over the next week or 2. So now it's like every time, one of their individuals see one of my individuals, people are going at it with each other and trying to take each other's lives.
So every time they're pulling guns.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes. This is what happened at this time. And from that, it led to an incident where me and somebody I was with, we went to a store. We ran into about 5 people that was with the other group.
Who's the other group?
The other group, they wasn't Bloods or nothing like that. They were just regular people.
Oh, okay.
They were just regular people. But it was just a bunch
from
of
another neighborhood?
No, we lived in the same neighborhood. They were just a different group.
Different group of friends.
Yes, they wasn't our friends.
Right.
And this led to them 2 fighting. And somebody from the other group pulled out a gun and me and him exchanged fire shooting at each other.
Okay.
So I'm trying to protect both of us, and the main guy gets shot in his back. But there's nothing of it. He gets shot in his back. We leave, and it really is nothing of it. Like, it wasn't nothing of it after that. But then later that night, I was at my mother's house and somebody came and shot up my mother's house. So now when my mother's house gets shot up, one of the bullets actually hit me in the top of my head. It came through, ricochet, hit me in the top of my head. So that kind of like, things like that kind of escalated it even more to more gunfire going back and forth between a bunch of young kids. Of course, as a parents, they probably don't want to see your kid go through that. But like I said, they had their own addiction and stuff that they was battling. So it's kind of like they was in their own world. Just a kid that's just.
Ain't say you didn't get out of my house?
Nope.
Wow. Well, you're bringing problems here. You got,
Yeah.
You got to go.
Yeah.
You got 2 other brothers.
Yeah.
You're going to get somebody killed. Right.
Yes,
I'd be worried.
At that point in time, though, both of my brothers was incarcerated. So it's kind of like just me out there. Like my older brother was incarcerated. My younger brother was incarcerated.
What were they incarcerated for?
One of them was incarcerated. My older brother was incarcerated for, I believe it was like a robbery charge. Him and his friends got locked up for it. And he was already incarcerated for like 3 or 4 years at this time. My younger brother, I think he had some type of juvenile charge that he got arrested for. He was in a program for like a juvenile program.
Okay.
So it was just me out there. They was already arrested. And because of these situations happening back and forth, like I said, it led to one person getting shot. They shot up my mother's house. And then the same person I shot up my mother's house, I actually ran into that person 3 days later. And when he pulled out a gun and tried to shoot me, I shot him and he ultimately died.
Okay. Where did that happen?
That happened 2 blocks away from where my mother lived. So it's probably, the street is Summerfield. That's the name of the street. It's right across the street from that Asbury Park Middle School.
Okay. And so when you shoot him and he hits the pavement, you take off running?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I took off running.
Were people around?
No, it was only one person that was around. It was a female that I was dating at that time. She happened to be walking with me. And it was a person that was in the midst of buying drugs from me that was walking ahead of me.
Okay.
So we took off running and ended up at one of my friend's house. And then I ultimately left and went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was out there for about a week until the marshals came and kicked in the door. And
so you're like on the run?
Yes.
Okay.
For like a week.
All right. And whose house are you at?
I was at the girl I was dating. I was at her uncle's house.
Okay. And so how do they track you down there?
I still don't know until this day. I have my suspicions of how, and I'm saying,
you think the uncle called and said, somebody come get this kid?
Possibly. But I also remember it was a night right before they came and got me that his girlfriend had a group of friends that was there. And the girl I was dating was actually using one of their computers and just like searching up what happened.
Right.
And I popped up that I had a warrant.
Right.
Now they didn't know I was in the house at that time, but it just so happened like 5 minutes later, I happened to walk out there and they see me. So I don't know. It could have been one of them, like just the same guy we just seen that they say they got a warrant for murder.
Right.
So I don't know. It could be so many different things, but they came. It was like 30 marshals that came in there and got me.
What'd you do with the gun? Where's the gun? You have it on you, or did you get it?
No. The gun was long gone even before I even got to Pittsburgh.
Okay. I'll say we gotta toss the gun.
Yeah, that was gone long before I even got there.
So they grab you. How old are you?
At this time I'm 19.
No bond.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
You could make the bond. How much was it?
All right, so when I they take me to the federal building. Then
Why the federal building?
I have no idea. Even though it was not a federal charge, I guess because I'm in Pittsburgh, the marshals, and they took me to a federal building. So we went through the whole line of the questioning. And after that, I told them, listen, it's a self-defense case. And it was just that. So they took me from there to the county in Allegheny County, and my bail was $1 short of $10 million just for a murder charge. So I had to go to court couple of times within the week, and then I waived my extradition rights to come back to Jersey. So I came back to Jersey and I went back to the county I was from, which was Monmouth County, and they lowered the bail from basically $9,999,000 to $2 million. And this was only when I had the murder charge. As I was going through the process of it, they indicted me on the murder charge, but then they also indicted me and gave me the attempted murder charge for the other guy that got shot a couple of days prior. But my bail stayed the same.
Right. Which is unobtainable anyway.
Yeah. It was $2 million cash.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not happening. And they give you a public defender?
Yes.
What happened? Was public defender saying?
Well, when he first came in, I'm looking at it from the angle, like I kind of grew up in the area when there's like, there really is no such thing as self-defense, right? I learned that through my whole situation that it is, no matter where you at, it's just different. But he was explaining a lot of that to me. And I remember the first time I went to the bail hearing, he tried to get a bail reduction from the $2 million to $150,000. Yeah, I'm like, it really didn't matter, but I learned a lot in that moment though, because the judge that was presiding over my case, he talked about all this other stuff except for why I'm arrested for. And then he ends it up and say that he's denying my bail for one of two reasons. Either one, me and my family was not cool, and this is why I was in Pittsburgh and they didn't know where I was at, which didn't make no sense. Or two, my family knew where I was at and they wouldn't give me up to the police. So he denied my bail hearing. And I'm like, that really doesn't have nothing to do with the actual facts of the case. So it was just a process from there that I sat in the county maybe 20 months going back and forth to court for different hands before I actually went to trial.
Well, what's your public defender? What's he telling you?
He's telling me that we had a shot of winning because it was enough evidence that proved my self-defense in it, but it was just kind of hard because you had multiple people making statements to save themselves from their own case that didn't had nothing to do with me. Like people was getting locked up for gun charges and it was like, oh yeah, I know this about this. And it really wasn't nothing. It was just something that they were just trying to get out of their own stuff. So he felt that we could potentially win if we went to trial. He didn't want me to testify on my own behalf at trial because he was like, I just don't want them to ask you any questions and it could lead to anything. But I'm like, listen, I know what I did. I defended myself. I took accountability from the beginning. So I don't have anything to fear about that. But he felt confident. I felt confident as the trial went on. But then once I started seeing how the judge was acting in certain ways, I kind of knew I was going to lose at that point.
Well, did they ever talk to the person that you were selling to?
Yes, they talked to him and he said that he didn't see anything in the beginning. He just seen the last 2 or 3 shots at the end of me shooting the guy. It's not one witness that they called that said that they just see me walk up and shoot the guy.
Right.
Not one witness.
I mean, did anybody actually see what really happened? And was it actually a decent witness? Or
no, the female that I was with,
right.
she told him the truth that, he had a gun. He had a gun.
Right.
That was that. And they questioned one of the guy that died. One of his friends was in that area. I walked past him like 30 seconds prior to that. He was in that area and he took his friend's gun. Like that's absolutely 100% of what happened. And
so what do you mean? So they didn't find the gun?
They didn't find his gun.
Okay.
They didn't find my gun. They didn't find his gun. So they trying to make it seem like
he didn't have a gun.
He didn't have a gun and I did. And I just killed him.
Right.
Which was the furthest thing from the truth. It came out later that this friend actually did an affidavit and said that he took the gun. But by then, I was already found guilty, and they was like, yeah, well, now he's just trying to lie. But they knew he was lying the whole time.
Okay. So the trial did not go well.
No. It didn't go well. I felt like it was already stacked against me from, like I said, my bail hearing from what the judge I said. So it was like little things that was happening at my trial that I kind of felt that it was always against me. It was a point in time that it was a witness that I don't know. The victim didn't know. And the prosecutor called this lady up here. She said she's sitting in the car. So it's just a matter about what she said. Either she heard something first or seen something first, whether it go to the gunshots. And my lawyer is questioning her. To get it right, he asked, could we get a read back on the record? Which we're allowed to. The judge told him no. We're not allowed to do it. I'm like, but we're allowed to do that. And it was like just like little things that they was doing. It was one of the main detectives, he was testifying, and they tried to make it a whole Bloods thing, like it was a whole gang affiliated thing, which it wasn't. And the prosecutor would ask him questions and we would object to the questions so he wouldn't answer, but he'd still answer anyway, so it creates more prejudice towards me.
Right.
So it was just like little things that they was doing along the way. Like even after the state rested their case, I told my lawyer, I said, put in a motion to get my gun charges just dismissed from it. They ain't call anybody up there that didn't say I had a permit or didn't have a permit. That's the law. And the judge was like, yeah, well, it's kind of common sense that he didn't have a permit. But I'm like, that's not the law, though.
Right.
Whether you feel that way or not, it's not the law.
So how long is the trial?
2 weeks. I believe it was 17 days.
I mean, ultimately,
I lost.
Yeah.
When they had rested, it was on a Thursday, I remember. They didn't come back with a deliberation on Thursday nor Friday. I think it was Monday that they said they reached a verdict. So it was kind of 3 days out. I was like kind of hopeful that, okay, with the evidence that at the worst case scenario, there would be a passion provocation. There's evidence that proved that it was self-defense. Long story short, it didn't happen that way. They found me guilty on everything.
Had they ever offered you a plea?
They offered me, my first plea was 50 years.
50 years?
Yes. My first plea was 50 years. And then maybe right before trial, they offered me at 18 with an 85.
What's 18 with 85?
18 with an 85 is a narrower sentencing. So you basically do 85% of what that time is. So out of the 18 years, I would have done 15 years and 3 months.
Okay. So the jury comes back, they say guilty.
Yes.
And the judge sentences you?
No, I don't even get sentenced that day.
Oh, okay.
They sent me back to the county jail for about June. I got sentenced in August of 2008. I come back in there, and then they're sitting there, a couple of victims, family members, they talking, my lawyer's talking, the prosecutor talking. Ultimately, they sentenced me to 60 years. 40 years for the murder charge, 20 years for the attempted murder charge, and 1 day for 4 gun charges. That was tied to both of them.
But what's the 1 day? What?
To me, it never made sense. That's how I felt like they was on some BS. Like, out of anything, you just gave me 1 day for 4 gun charges.
Right.
Like,
so what does your lawyer say after the whole?
He felt that we should have won, or at the very least, that it should have been 60 years.
Would he look at you and say, listen, I'm disappointed too?
Yeah, that's what he said. But I'm like, okay, as long as you got my appeal paperwork in order, right, so I can get on to the next process, because I know I'm going to prison. I got 60 years now.
Yeah.
At that point, it wasn't really even about the time once I lost. I'm just like, I just have to work on my case ultimately to get back home. And that's what it came down to. Like, I wasn't focused on the amount of time that they gave me.
Did your lawyer say he was going to file an appeal?
Yes. He told me right then and there that he already had the paperwork filled out just in case I did lose. So he was turning it in because I think you get like a 10-day window or 30-day window to file your notice of appeal as soon as you lose trial. Mm-hmm. So he filed that immediately. I went back to the county for maybe a week after I got sentenced, and then I left and they sent me down to state prison after that.
Okay. Where's the state prison?
New Jersey State Prison. That is Trenton State Prison, which is the biggest prison in New Jersey, maximum security prison. That's when you're not going there unless you got 25, 30 years or more.
How many people are in there?
When I first got down there, it was 1,900 people. When I left, it was about 1,200. But everybody down there has serious time. You're not going down there and being in population with 5 years.
So what happens? So when you get there, what happens?
Well, growing up, hearing so much about this prison of how it is, my mindset would just be in survival mode.
Right.
So I go from the county to the assessment center, which was called Craft, which they since shut down. And then I was there for a day and a half until I finally got there. It's like when they take you there, they put you in this garage, and the garage is dark. Like, we didn't have these lights on here, you would know how dark it'd be.
Right.
Just being in there. And you just sitting inside of the garage, and you could just feel the death that's inside that place.
Is it just you? Or other people?
No, I'm the only person that's going there. Only person that's going there that day. Okay. Like, when you get sentenced going there, it might be 1 or 2 people, but it might just be you going to that prison. Like, they'd take everybody else everywhere else before you get there. But it's like when you walk in a place, you could just feel it, like the tension in the air of that place. And I remember when I first walked in there, My grandfather, he was telling me about it because he was there back in the day. He did like 7 years there, and he was just telling me, he was like, just be alert at all times. Just be alert at all times.
Oh, my God.
It's a maximum security prison. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I get in there. They take you to medical to go through the normal stuff that you go to. And the crazy thing is they put me in a quarantine unit, but it was as said. Like, you got to get quarantined for like your first couple of days for some reason. But for me, they didn't have any room. So I ended up being in as said for my first week there.
Okay.
And I'm getting treated like I'm in lockup.
Right.
But then they forgot that I'm back there and I'm new there. So they forgot me back there for 2 weeks before I actually seen the classification and got released into Popoli.
And you're 21 years old.
Yeah, by this time I'm 21.
So they give you a cellie?
No.
Are these cells?
Yes, they're cells. Majority of the units are single cell. You have maybe 2 or 3 units that's double man, but it's mainly single cell.
Single cell, that's pretty.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. But like if you
as
look
prisons go,
yeah, when you looking at it from the other side, it's like, oh, it's crazy.
So this facility is old, right?
Yes, I think it was 1865 or something when they built it.
Shit, what does this place look like?
I gotta
like a castle.
Yeah, I could show you some pictures of what it looked like.
What is it? I want to see it. Let me pull.
No, I'm pulling up. Look up images. Look up New Jersey State Prison images. Mm-hmm. This right here is the cells. That's the cell I was in. Not specifically that cell, but that's the kind of cells I was in.
Yeah, look at the guard tower, huh? That's a thick. These are some thick. This looks like a Spanish fort.
When you're on those sides of the cells of how it is, it's crazy. It's crazy. And like when I first got there, I'm 21. And like hearing all the stories, I would just prepare for anything, getting there. But then once I got there, I realized like, okay, it's not as how it was explained to me all the time.
Yeah. I'm not walking around with 2 shanks taped in my hand so they don't slip out because of the blood.
Exactly.
You know, walking around crazy all the time. Yeah.
Maybe back in the 50s and the 60s like that. But when I got there in 2008, it wasn't like that. It's violence. Like that didn't change, but it's more so of people just clashing with people because they didn't like each other. They had tension of their own. It wasn't like everybody just walking around stabbing each other.
Did you ever see Shawshank?
Yes. One of my favorite movies.
Yeah. I love that movie.
Classic.
That is, I have 2 favorite movies. I have Shawshank and I have Gattaca.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both great because there's so much is stacked against them, both those guys.
All right, so the cells on Shawshank, that's how the cells is there, but just smaller. If I had to say the size of a cell, there is probably the end of this desk to where my hand is right here.
Yeah.
Probably from where you at to that wall.
With the bunk bed in it and the toilet.
Yes, with the bunk and the toilet.
If you sleep hot at night, you know how disruptive that can be. When you're not resting well, everything else feels harder. Your focus, your mood, even your recovery. GhostBed is here to help you fix that. They've spent decades perfecting how to build a bed that's comfortable, durable, and designed to actually help you rest. Every GhostBed mattress features premier materials, proven cooling technology, and their exclusive ProCore layer, a targeted support system that reinforces the center of the mattress where the body is heaviest. It helps keep your spine aligned and your back supported, so you can wake up ready for anything 2026 throws at you. Each mattress comes with a 101 night sleep trial and a 20 to 25 year warranty, so you can try it risk-free, knowing it's built to last. Shipping is fast and free. Most orders arrive in 2 to 5 days. GhostBed has great prices to begin with, up to 50% off comparable brands. And Inside True Crime listeners can get an extra 10% off site-wide for a limited time. Just go to ghostbed.com/Cox and use promo code Cox at checkout. That's ghostbed.com/Cox, promo code Cox. Upgrade your sleep with GhostBed, the makers of the coolest bed in the world. Some exclusions apply. See site for details.
And the picture I just showed you, the toilet is inside the wall. Yes.
Inside the wall.
Yes. The one picture I just showed you, the toilet is inside the wall. Like the toilet If you look at this one right here,
the one I pulled up was not. It was a stainless steel toilet.
Yes, that's on
That one.
Yes, that's on a different unit. If you look at this one right here, that picture right there, that is actually a toilet inside the wall.
Oh, it's like a little indented square.
Yep.
This is not a this needs some paint. This cell needs some TLC. You know, if we gotta make this more homey. You know, it's got to be nicer. We got to make
it's inside the toilet.
Yeah, need some wallpaper. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, so you get your cell.
Yeah,
and you're there. Do you meet some people? Do you know people there? Know of people that
I know of people.
Right.
Like just you got a lot of people, especially when being in the streets and being in the underworld. You got a lot of different people that you would hear their names that might be from other cities or towns. Or you might just know somebody that person knows. So it bridges like mutual connections.
Yeah. Yeah. It's comforting. At least it's somebody from the neighborhood, somebody that knows somebody that you know.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, so at what point, so does your public defender, he's fighting the case. You're what? Getting a job, hanging out? Are you?
I maintained a job the whole time. Like once I got down there, my immediate focus was learn as much as I could about my case legally to get home.
Right.
And there's like a lot of old heads that was down there when I got down there at 21. They just like, listen, a lot of us came in like you and we all messed our opportunity up of getting home sooner, of staying in trouble. So they're like, just stay out of trouble. So that's why I did as much as I could. I probably had 2 infractions the whole time I was down there in 19 years. But I just stayed out of trouble and I worked on my case. My lawyer, the public defender, put in the appeal and then they gave me another lawyer. So I'm working on the case and he's working on the case. I'm just working, staying out of trouble. And then they deny my appeal. They deny it. This is 2010, 2 years in.
What was the reason they deny it?
They said that it was errors in my case, but
harmless error.
Harmless errors.
Yeah.
It's errors, but it's harmless.
Yeah. There's nothing harmless errors that they don't feel it meets the level that would have
changed
the outcome of the trial. Like, yeah, admittedly the judge should have said this, given these instructions to the jury, and he said this, but either way, I think they would have found him guilty. Like, it's not enough.
Yeah,
you know, it's funny. That's what we had a guy the other day where it was like there were 16 of them. 16 harmless errors like that. That's so many that it in its totality may have changed the course of the trial.
It was a break, and then they rushed us back upstairs, and they said that they caught it on a security camera that a couple of people from the victim's family was taking pictures of the jurors, and the jurors alerted them. All right, 9 times out of 10, that's jury tampering.
Yeah,
at the least. Part of my appeal during trial, they said it wasn't an issue, and during my appeal, they said it wasn't an issue. In the middle of a murder case.
Right. So after the denial, what do you do?
I just work harder.
Right. Well, what is the avenue after the appeal is denied? What is the avenue to try and rectify, if at all?
So after your direct appeal, you can appeal your decision on your direct appeal. And then if you lose the decision on your direct appeal, you can file for your PCR, the post-conviction relief. If you get denied on your post-conviction relief, then you can appeal that decision. If you get denied on that, then you can go to the feds for your habeas corpus. Okay. You get denied on that, you can file that. And then if you lose off of that, and if you lose on your second PCR, it's over. You have no more appeals. You basically exhausted all of your remedies of appeal.
Federal system, you can always apply, or you can always file what's a 2255, which is saying my lawyer was ineffective, because typically what happens during the appeal process is you've brought up enough things that went wrong in the trial, or at least hopefully discovered something that the state withheld or that the state did inappropriately that allows you to then turn around and or that your attorney should have brought up or said or did something, and then you can turn around and you could typically file something against your in the federal system. You could file a 2255 at that point. Usually during the appeals process, you figured out something that like, whoa, why didn't you catch this? Or, hey, why didn't he say this? Why did he? Now, that's if you go to trial. If you don't go to trial, then you don't have really an appeal. You really just have kind of, well, you could appeal, I guess. You could appeal your sentence. Like if you plead guilty, you could appeal your sentence, but can you? And then, it's basically denied. And then the other thing you could do is you could file a 2250. At that point, you could file a 2255 saying, look, my lawyer he was ineffective.
Yes.
So I don't know, is the state, is Jersey the same way? You could file
you could file ineffective mostly you could do it on your direct appeal and you could do it on your PCR.
Okay.
Right. But if you really don't have adequate proof that your lawyer was ineffective, even if they know he was ineffective or she was ineffective, they still like, you got to meet this prong, prong, and they're just going to deny it anyway. Well,
in the federal system, there are there's out of every 3,500 2255s, ineffective assistance to counsel, one person gets relief. Out of 3,500, one person gets relief. And that relief, people think, oh, he goes free. No. It's gotten accepted, and there's some kind of a beneficial outcome to that inmate or defendant. That doesn't mean he goes home. Exactly. He might have just gone from 32 years down to 25 years.
Yes.
Yes. Like my buddy Pete had 40 years and goes in front of the judge, gets resentenced. The appellate courts keep saying, hey, resentence. You have to resentence him and take this into consideration. And then the court would resentence him and they'd go, you're right. It was inappropriate. 40 years was inappropriate. We're going to give you 38 years.
Oh, I've seen that happen in the state.
Oh, listen, it happened to him 3 times. Then the next time he did it again, they said, that's not enough. That's inappropriate. Not enough. He goes back and they said, they're right. 36 years. Then they come back. Listen, they comes back again. Boom, 34 years. Then he goes back again. They said, nah, that's just the way it is. You're hit. You're at 34 years. I mean, he went back three times for sentencing. Yeah. That's fucking insane.
I've seen that happen to people in the state all the time, that they get a reversal. The prosecutors will appeal it. Then they either will reverse it back or something similar. They have 40 years and they're like, oh, well, we give you 39 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, they play that game.
Yeah.
They play that game a lot.
Yeah. It's like the appellate court they can't, I don't think they can, because they're not sentencing you. They're saying so they really can't say, you would think they'd be able to suggest like, hey, you can't give them, you got to take this into consideration. You need to knock off 9 years, something.
Yes, but they don't do
They don't do it like
that.
that.
The overseer is saying you have to correct this.
Yes.
But they still leave it up to their discretion on a lower course of what to correct.
Yeah. And what people don't realize is that the appeal process takes so long.
Yes.
That if you had 5 years and you thought I shouldn't get 5 years, and people say, oh, okay, well, you can appeal it. Okay.
You'll probably be home by the time you go through.
I'll be in the halfway house
True.
And still be doing this. I could be fighting this at home.
I seen somebody be on a PCR for 10 years.
Yeah. It's nuts. That's nuts.
It's crazy.
It was Ephraim Deveroli who said, he said, they can do anything they want to you as long as they give you a process to correct it. So they can do anything that's unjust to you as long as you have the ability to, there's a system in place to correct it. Because that way, anytime they do something, you say, you can't do that. That's illegal. You can't think of what you need to go through. Well, then if you think so? Yeah. Well, then you need to file a such and such. And you think, oh, okay. And what you don't realize is, no, we're going to, now the whole system's designed to slow walk you.
Yeah. I agree.
So you were going to get it out. We're going to get a chunk out of you.
Oh, absolutely. That's their plan. Whether you go home early or not, they're going to get a good chunk of time out of you.
Yeah. I knew a guy, Kevin Weeks. Why do I keep saying Kevin Weeks? It's not Kevin Weeks. I don't think it is Kevin Weeks. His last name is Jason Weeks. Jason Weeks, who he had a fraud case, and he went to trial. They offered him like 3 or 4 years. And he said, I'm going to beat you at trial. And he loses at trial. And then they come to him and they said, listen, he has like 3 co-defendants, right? Your co-defendant, Jimmy's going to trial. Testify against him, and we'll reduce your. Oh, by the way, I think he got like 30 years, 32. I think he got like 30 years, and they said, you testify against them, and we'll. And by the way, the reason he got 30 years is during the course of the trial, he got leading up to the trial, they charged him with plotting to kill the judge, and they didn't change the judge. By the way, they just superseding indictment and threw that in there, and now I'm in front of the judge that I plotted to kill.
So you're definitely gonna smoke him.
You're done. So he got 30 years. So they said, okay, well, look, you lost. You got 30 years. If you testify against your co-defendant, I think he had like 3 co-defendants. You testify them at the end of the trials, then we'll reduce your sentence and give you. I think it was like they were like roughly he was looking at like 6 or 7 years. He said, no, I'm gonna beat you on my appeal. I said, oh, okay. And then one of the co-defendants goes to trial and loses, he gets thrown in jail, and then he loses his appeal, and then the next one he's like, look, you got another. I think the other one pleads guilty or something. And he's like, if you testify, we'll drop your 30 to 15. Of course we can't promise you, but and he's like, okay, and he says, no, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat my 2255, and he files his 2255, and he loses a 2255. No, the other guy goes to trial, he loses, he goes to jail, and then Jason loses the 2255, and now he's got 30 years. And I mean, listen, and after that, it didn't matter what he filed, denied.
They rubber stamp it at that point.
At that point, they hate your guts.
Yes.
You're done. Doesn't matter how valid it is, or it doesn't matter.
I know one of the people that made a statement was on his way home from prison, maybe 6 months after my trial started. Because he testified in my favor in some sorts, even though he made a statement, they called the parole board and gave him a 24-month hit.
Just like that.
Just because.
Yeah. So you're working on your case the whole time you're there.
Whole time.
And what's happening is it's just one denial after another denial.
Every stage I got denied that. Direct appeal, the appeal to the direct appeal, the PCR, the newly discovered evidence that I put in twice with affidavits that I got from people that finally came and told the truth, my habeas corpus. So throughout the 19 years, it just kept getting denied. But I just kept focusing on working to do other stuff outside of my case. It paid off at the end of the day. So, doing my Bible study, going to church, taking other courses, all of that stuff and staying out of trouble. By the time they came around with clemency, which was 2023 that Governor Phil Murphy started it, he announced it, I actually ended up in ASED. I had a phone. They caught me with a cell phone. So I'm in ASED while this whole clemency thing is going on. But the people that have access to JPay, because I didn't have access to mine at this time, they was telling me.
What is this?
JPay is kind of like the core links that the feds get.
Right.
Like the emailing system, the messaging. So for the state, it's JPay. JPay via Path, same exact thing. So
just an email system.
Yes, email system.
Right.
People was telling me what was going on with the clemency until I got access. So my wife, and shout out to her, when I told her what was going on, she went and made sure she got everything that she could possibly get from support letters, helped me upload my books that I wrote, put my certificates in a packet and all that for my clemency.
How are you married?
I got married while I was in prison.
Of course. Of course. You said it like this, like that, like
it's normal.
Of course. It was a co-ed prison. How'd you meet her?
When I had my phone. So I was talking to her for a while. I met her through the phone, through social media and stuff. And,
like Facebook or
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay.
Yes. And we just started talking for quite some time. And then
she comes to visit you.
No, we did it virtually. We did the marriage virtually. She never visited? No, we did video visits and all that, but where she was living at in Texas and then flying out, I'm like, I know I'm going to be home, so like, ain't even no point of wasting a plane ticket. Like, that was just my faith. I'm going to be home. There ain't even no point, but we had the FaceTime on the phone, and then by the time I got caught, then we had video visits and all that stuff too.
How long had you been married?
Actually, the other day on the 13th, celebrated 2 years. July 13th, 2 years.
Okay, so she's your wife now. You got married after?
No, we got married in prison. I've been married to her for 2 years.
So you got married to her just before you got out.
Yes, in 2024, a year and some change before I got out.
Okay. So she got all the information for you and sent everything in.
She put the work in. By the time I got out of ASED in February 2025, she sent me the packet and I submitted it. And once I submitted it, I found out that the ACLU of New Jersey and also the ex-head public defender, Joseph Kokor, was representing people for the clemency petitions. So one of my closest friends that I call my brother, he was represented by Joseph Kokor. And I asked him, could he reach out to him and see if he would give me a support letter? Because I feel like if you representing them, that's going to mean something, if their name is on something. And at first, he was like, I don't know. And then ultimately, we had a conversation. And he said, I looked at your petition. He said, I represent you. He's seen everything I accomplished in my 19 years. So he took it from the governor's office and then added what he needed to add it to and then refiled it for me. This was June of last year. And then at that point, it was just a waiting time because you had the election going on. So we didn't know when Phil Murphy was going to do the clemency and all that stuff. Like by then, he only let maybe 5-6 people out of prison for clemency. Once the election was over in November, that's when it started rapidly happening. I remember vividly, November 12th. The lieutenant that worked in the prison, he came and got me and told me like, hey, the governor team want to see you because they grant you clemency.
Oh, shit.
So I just got done working that morning. So when he came and told me that, and my friend that actually plugged me in with Joseph Kokor, he just got his clemency granted like 2 weeks prior to that. So I'm like, this is right here is a blessing. Like we both on our way out of Trenton. And he, at this time, I had 19 years in, he had 23 years in.